there could be a explanation, but if you don't look at the evidence that's in front of your eyes, then you're certainly not going to figure it out. Michael, your critics are maybe even your critics are pretty complimentary of you as far as how thorough your research is, though controversial, and even the people who vehemently disagree with you do give credit where credit's due in your thoroughness, and that your book, if nothing else, could be used for a textbook model, just so that people could learn all of the different types of creatures that have been throughout antiquity.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you one more listener-generated question from academia, from one of these kind of, I won't say negative, but we'll say critical perspective.
Okay, let's hear it.
The question is, how can you accuse professional anthropologists and paleoanthropologists of conspiracy theories and cover-ups when they relish the chance to investigate new evidence and change their position? You have not done the same, but remained stagnant in your own research. When was the last time you conducted scientific research in the field?
Okay, well, the first part of I regard what I'm doing as scientific research, because there are different types of scientific research. I do research in the field. I do go into the field. I relocated the California gold mines where these California gold mine objects were originally discovered. I've gone out into the field in Portugal, and I've relocated places where the Portuguese geologist Carlos Ribeiro found artifacts in Miocene formations, 20 million years old in Portugal. I've gone out into the field in Belgium and relocated sites where the Belgian geologist Laetoli discovered human artifacts and layers of rock 30 million years old. I've gone out into the field in India and visited many sites there as well. So I consider myself, however, to be an historian of science, an historian of archaeology. So most of my research is digging into the reports given by archaeologists. And when I speak of a knowledge filtration, I don't mean a satanic conspiracy to suppress truth. I don't think that there are many paleontologists and archaeologists who think, well, here's some true evidence which, if known, would cause people to disbelieve in my theories, therefore I'm going to hide it. Rather, when they encounter this anomalous evidence, they simply think something must be wrong with this evidence. It just doesn't fit. It couldn't possibly be true. And then they can give a whole list of possibilities of how something could be wrong. The dating methods could have been misused. The original investigator could have been mistaken. The object could have slipped down from some higher level. And so they don't think that they're concealing true facts, which, if known, would cause people to disbelieve in their theory, although the effect is the same. The effect of this knowledge filtering process is the same as if they were deliberately concealing evidence and things like that. There's no real difference in the ultimate result. So, and what I'm talking about in terms of this knowledge filtering process is something that philosophers of science, historians of science, and other people who study science have known about for a long time, namely that theoretical preconceptions often govern how evidence is treated in particular fields. So I'm not denying that there may be, in some cases, some instances of deliberate fraud or concealing of evidence. Such things do happen in science. We see it in the newspapers all the time. There were the stories of the South Korean scientist who faked data and things like that. So occasionally that does go on. But when I speak of the knowledge filtering process, that's not what I'm talking about in the main. What I'm talking about is how scientists allow theory to govern what they will accept as a fact and what they won't accept as a fact. So that's going on. That's what I'm talking about in cases like that. And if but then we also have to consider. I mean, the questioner was mentioning, well, scientists are always, willing to change their ideas, and if they find something new, they're going to be rewarded for it. Not necessarily true. The case of Virginia Steen McIntyre, I think, is a very excellent case. She was an American geologist who I know personally. When she was a young woman just beginning her career in geology, she was involved in dating an archaeological site in Mexico called Huayatlaco. It's near the town of Puebla. In the 1970s, American archaeologists working with Cynthia Irwin-Williams were conducting some excavations there, along with some Mexican archaeologists, and together they found some human artifacts. So they wanted to know how old they were, so they brought in a team of geologists. So Virginia Steen McIntyre and her colleagues used 4 different methods to date this site. They used the uranium series method on butchered animal bones that were found in the same layers as the artifacts. They got an age of about 245,000 years. They used the zircon fission track method to date a layer of volcanic ash that was found above the layers with the stone tools and the butchered animal bones. They got an age of 270,000 years for the layer of volcanic ash. Using all 4 methods that they employed, the geologists, 4 of them, concluded that the site must be at least 250,000 years old and was probably about 300,000 years old. But the archaeologists refused to accept this. They said, well, that's impossible. Human beings capable of making artifacts like these didn't exist anywhere in the world 300,000 years ago. They hadn't evolved yet. And what to speak of being present in North America, because the current theory is that humans only entered the Americas about 20,000 years ago maximum. So the archaeologists refused to publish the age for the site given by their own hand-picked team of geologists. So Virginia Steen McIntyre, and she decided to independently publish the age for the site that she and her colleagues had obtained using the latest scientific methods. And when she did that, she found she lost a teaching position that she held at a university in the United States, and she suddenly found all of her opportunities for professional advancement were blocked off. So these are some of the stories that would tend to contradict, what the questioner is saying. And I would also ask the questioner why, if he's such a big fan of the scientific method, I would have to ask him, does he support the idea that the government, through its judicial system, should enforce a particular scientific theory in the education system, as if the government were the final arbiter of what is true and what is not true in science?
Right. Yeah, I think
she,
in this case,
that's the sort of thing I would have to say in reply to the questioner. Now,
I think she's biased in that direction. She wants to remain anonymous, but she basically, I think, believes that the facts are the facts, and that's that. But
the problem is,
I
think that people don't get all the facts.
Right.
Usually, when you open up a textbook of archaeology or anthropology or whatever, you see only the facts that go along with the current theory, and then you think, perhaps a person like the questioner, who's perhaps gone through a university education or something like that, would see, okay, here are all the facts that are mentioned in the textbook. They go along with the theory that's mentioned in the textbook. Therefore, the theory must be correct because it's supported by all the facts. Problem is, you're not seeing all the facts. You're only seeing the selection of facts that go along with the theory. So what I've proposed is that you need to keep the entire data set in view. And when I speak at universities, because I am often invited to speak at universities, I'm often invited to speak at international conferences in archaeology and anthropology and at major scientific institutions.